Oh no, look at this horrible weather. It's raining and storming and there's nothing we can do. I guess there's only one thing one can do in these sort of situations. Draw a robot. Say, Mr. Robot, shall we draw you? Yes. Alright, so from last time, I did a couple of different sketches as well, just to explore how I can turn and rotate this shape in 3D space. And this time around, we're going to concentrate on the main body and also on the head. I don't want to put too much info because I will try to break it down as much as possible. Alright, so I pre-sketched this and with markers, but before we go in, I'm just going to take different piece of paper and I'm just going to explore the shapes that I want to draw. Okay, sorry for the yellow light, but we have sort of a storm going on, so it's not quite bright and I needed to do some extra lighting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the side view of the head shape, which is this sort of cut off cuboid whatever shape. And I am going to try to fit in the shape that we chose last time, which let me blend it in on the screen, as you can see. So that I want to fit in here. So I'm just going to copy that first a little bit. So let's see how it looks. It was something like this. So I think that was a spaceship or something. And the body of my robot would be something like this, right? That's what we agreed upon. So that means this, there should be a neck or something here, right? So, okay, let me see. Before I go to the neck, let me see a little bit. I actually really like that. So let me do it without the cube around it. And let me just cut these off like this. And then that comes here. And this comes there. And so here I want sort of the two eyes, sort of a little bit creepy, Eva remembering, something like that. And then here this can reach a little bit back and then have it just a little bit of like those, the part of the head looks a little bit like an alien. And it has that back reaching head area. So I don't want to follow the shape that I chose that much. Something like this. So now what I have to think about if we have this slanting body below it. So first of all, I need to cut this off. And I'm going to do this because this is sort of missing a little bit. And here we can play a lot with the shapes. But right now I'm just sketching, not thinking too much about the 3D. I did like this element that they had there. I might even put some thingies there. Some antennae. Now here, so if we have this slanting thing, I want this to rotate. I want the head to rotate around like this, but I'll probably want it to be able to swivel as well. So if we would have a joint here, like that, and when I draw that, I mean sort of a cylinder like this. So if something's on top, it can rotate left and right. That's what I want there. So whenever you're designing something like this, you have to think of functionality, especially if you're doing prop design or robots or anything like this. Industrial designers love to say form follows function, right? So yeah, you can have some nice looking stuff, but if it will not work, even people who don't know how to draw or how to design, they will notice that. And you want definitely to make something that looks functioning, and you can't easily trick people all the time. And obviously it doesn't have to be totally functioning, but if you throw in a couple of things that look functioning, then you're already a winner. And that's why it's also important, let me say it for the nth time, and you're probably bored of me saying that, but reference. So even if you don't look at other people's drawings, what you should look is at robotics that we have right now. So what sort of robots can we build at this moment, right? What are the hinges that we use in robots? How do they move? Obviously, we don't have any walkers, so that's going to be mostly based on what you can see from other people. But for example here, what I noticed here is, So if we have the shape like this, let me quickly redraw it here, just so I can explain this. So we have this shape, right? And then we have this head, and it's going to be mounted somewhere here. You can see that this is much heavier than this. There's a little bit of physics here that you know that this will tilt forward. So here I'm trying to add a little bit of extra bulk towards the end of the head, so I can counter this. And I'm not thinking about anything else right here, I'm just trying to counter that. It might be too much as well in this case, but I can fix that later. So this is where the body of the robot should be. I imagine something like this. And it would be also cool if I can put this to the center. Now, I don't want, if we look at this again, let's see, if this goes from here to here, you can see that it's not going to be as high as I want it here, which means that I might have to make the head actually, oh, you didn't see this much, but yeah, I might have to make the head a little bit bigger so it fits with this sort of shape. But actually I do like this, and I like what I have here. And okay, let me do a couple more. Let me just speed sketch a couple. I'm gonna speed this up. Alright, I think I like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a quick 3D sketch as well, so I just understand it a little bit better. So let me see if I can plot it out in 3D. Should go something like this. And this was funny as well, like looking at this shape, obviously I put in a couple of hinges in there so the head can move around, but my whole theory of form follows function sort of goes out the window with this design a little bit, because it just wouldn't make a lot of sense to have a robot with a giant head it's walking around. It looks almost a little bit like a chibi robot at this moment with a silly big head. But I like it, and if nothing else, I can come up with sort of a explanation of why it is as it is. But so and this is the big but, even if it's unreasonable or not necessarily doesn't make any sense to have a big head like this, I can sell it by making sure that it will move accordingly. So I made sure that what they call the gravity point is somewhat in the center, so it's the shape is balanced. So that's why I'm making this one bigger and trying to see how it fits. So it does that, and then I thought about the rotation here, so it can do this and it can also do this, and then now I just need sort of a round one here, so it can also do this sort of motion. And if I have all of those, from here on I just have to plant it onto the body part, which I am going to get into right now. So if we look at the original body, and let me actually start drawing it here. We had sort of this, and then if you take a look at the reference image that I chose for myself, it was sort of a nice octagonal spaceship. I wanted to use that octagonal spaceship, right? So now I want to make sure that it's as octagonal as possible. That's a weird word, using it over and over again. So I'm working on this surface now. I'm just trying to elongate it a little bit. So we have, and there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to an octagon. So I'm just going to see how I can, that's correct, that's somewhat correct. There, there, close it there. There we go. So this is a nice octagon that we have here. Now that this is constructed, I want to raise it a little bit because I think it might be a bit raised in the design as well. But so what we have here is something like this, right? There we go. And what I'm talking about raising, if we have a square and I want to have a smaller square that I raise a little bit in drawing, that shouldn't be too hard. I'm just gonna find the center point, right? Center point. From the center point, I'm drawing a vertical onto this shape, which is this. And from there, I know that I can reconstruct this square here by just duplicating these diagonals and then just creating another square. There we go. And now I just connect these edges. And boom, there we have, it's raised. And if you look from the side, so from there, you would see something like this, right? So this is what I want to do here as well. So I know that if this is the center line, those are always useful. And what I want is probably, let me do it very lightly. So if we would have a square here in the middle and I want to raise this, well, I would need things that are, well, lines, not things, that are perpendicular. And then I'm just going to recreate this little square on top of it. And then from here, just connect all. Well, if I could turn this actually into a octagon as well. Let me do that actually. There we go, nicely cut off the edges of this little, well, former square. Now it's an octagon. There we go. And now I unite what I did here, which was incorrect. Now I just, there's 1, there's 2, this is 3, 4, that goes there, that goes there. This one connects here, and that one connects there. And now we have this nicely raised platform that is a little bit reminiscent, well, not really, of the spaceship. But from here I will also want to steal some design ideas. What I really like, yeah, I already doubled the line here a little bit, so we can do that a bit more. But I like that there's sort of like a railing system coming down here. That's also, I think, what I continued in the previous drawing. As you can see here, like this, I just want, it's just a small design element, didn't really make sense there, but why not? I think actually what I was referring to when I was mentioning the reference image, I thought this was the front, but this is actually the back of that spaceship, because the exhausts are there, or exhaust, not exhaust, but I don't know what they're called. It's basically where the fire, the plume comes out and pushes the ship forward. But for us, it's just going to be some front element. So this doesn't matter right now. Actually, this already looks nice. I don't want to do much there. I'm going to steal this little rectangular design element from the spaceship. I really like it there. And this, so right, this should be fitting right onto here. So that's what's going to go there. So what I can do, I also like this, that this is sectioned a little bit in the drawing. So I'll take the sectioning. Then we have nice little hard points here. Continue the section. I also like that we have like sort of hard points here at the end of each of these. And so we will have the legs coming out from here. So I will want sort of cutaways almost. So we have more space for whatever hinges we will have there. And I will cut this a little bit as well. And now I can actually think a little bit. So if I have, let me look at this from the side. It should look something like this, right? And then we have this hexagonal, well, octagonal lift to it. So it looks a little bit like that. All right, and now we have octagon. So we have these two things, and then we have this cutaway and that cutaway, right? So how do we make this a little bit more appealing? We could also just leave away the cutaways. Actually, it's always nicer when you just cut straight and then you put an element below. So you don't want to cut into it. It's also much easier to manufacture. So also you have to think about manufacturing a little bit. This would be where the hinges are, like right there. And then this is where the legs will come in. This is actually nice. What I failed to do here is to actually break it down a little bit for you guys. So let me show you how in my head I break this into, so I break down this head into geometric elements. So we have this shape, right? It comes a little bit like this. All right, so what I'm doing in my head, I know that I'm just going to draw it on the side of this. So it comes a little bit like this on the side, right? So I know I have to cut this away. There we go. And here I also have to cut part of it away. I cut there and I cut here and I cut here again. So far it looks like this. And here it doesn't matter, I just pull it to the back. So I make sure to cut it. So now we have sort of the rough shape of that one. And from here, I just start subdividing and working more on this. So now I'm just going to work on the singular parts. And I'm going to do everything with cubes. There we go. These are all cubes. It's the only thing that I'm going to rotate the cubes here a little bit. So they're going to be like upside down, but still nothing else but cubes, all right? So we have sort of this is like, not cubes, sorry, cuboids, yeah. There we go. So we have this shape, and then from here, we have basically this coming back here, right? So it's this shape, and what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of thickness here. So make it thicker. This all happens in my head, obviously. You can draw this out, and it's also good because this is how you learn, but at some point you can do this in your head. Then I'm going to cut this part here, and I'm probably going to cut these lines here. And so this is what we learned. So I know then here I am going to have another sort of cube, but a thinner one, like this. It comes out of there, and then this I can cut later again. And here if I put the cubes as well, or cuboids, so this would be the one eye, and then I can even put the cylinder here. So we also have the cylinder, and you can see a little bit of cylinder from the other side. So this is how you break it down in your head. And then with the next one, you can start actually going a little bit into detail. You can start, oh, let me take this away. So you can start rounding here, add roundings. You can round this one down as well, and then just add maybe an extra eye. Add sort of a rounded shape here that will go there. Make sure we can round this as well. Make it a little bit sleeker. Then we can add extra cubes just for bulk for now. But I know that here is where all the hinges will come. So I'm going to add sort of a cylinder there and another cylinder there. And then we're going to have this cylinder here for the articulation, right? So there you go. 1, 2, 3. Basically, this is how I end up with this, but you can see it's very similar. It's just this is broken down more into pieces. But then returning a little bit to this one, to the side again. So what I do with the side is I'm just going to leave those. I know that I will have the two cylinders there, or whatever I will use for the legs later on. So I just bring this extra element that could be part of the construction thingy, and I'll make sure that this is the elevated octagonal shape. And we also see these two sides if we're drawing an octagon, a little bit there. There we go. And I can actually now try and place this head on it, which is basically this. So I will have this one for rotation. I will have something like this, and then I will have this cylinder here. And I should have drawn this on a new piece of paper so I don't confuse you. But let's see what I can get done here. Yeah, actually I like this quite a bit now. There we go. This will be the one eye, the other eye could be above, below. I still haven't decided on that one. And then this, we have this little wraparound thingamajiggy. Okay, and then the legs will be somewhere here. Alright, and the legs will do next time. But at least then what I can do is I can put this away, bring this to the front, and speed it up and draw in what we did. So main thing is, you saw how I tested a little bit, just a side view, make it simple for yourself. Then obviously in my head, I broke it down into 3D pieces, and I just started building on those, the easiest cuboids that you can use, and cylinders. And same thing here. So just easy way to deform shapes, and well, the basic shapes at least, that's what you have to use. And from there, just build it up. And the rest is detailing. So the rest, you decide how much you want to do. And here you can actually steal a lot from, I will steal a lot from the original image as well. So something I forgot to mention is that this is not a step-by-step tutorial on how to draw this one specific robot. This is me wanting to show you the basic steps that should help you come up with your own original and specific robot. It's just the beats of thinking that go through my head when I'm trying to come up with a new design for a robot. So maybe the title shouldn't be drawing a robot, but it should be more like maybe designing a robot. But yeah, something interesting that happened is quite a couple of people joined me on my Discord server, and they showed their progress, and I will blend some of them in here as well so you can see. But it's really cool to just share and talk to each other and learn from each other. So if you feel like you would like to join in this robot drawing thing, there is a robot drawing challenge in my Discord server where as soon as I have time, I interact and talk with people who want to share their progress in robot drawing. So take a look at some of the interesting things that they already did based on the first video from last week. And yeah, so sorry again for the video and lighting, but there's like a crazy storm going on outside, and there's nothing to do about it. Nature wins every time. But I do hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new again, and I do hope to see you next time, because we're going to continue with the legs, which is also quite interesting. As always, feel free to hit that like button. It helps me with pushing the video so more people see it. And also, if you'd like to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you get notifications. You can also follow me on Instagram for more regular drawing related updates. And as always, the most important part is that you guys have a great time, and see you next time. Bye bye.